Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. With our main topic, we're discussing now the continuation of the efforts exerted by Egypt for a truce and a ceasefire, and the continuity of sending humanitarian aid and supplies for the Gaza Strip. To shed more light on this, we have the pleasure to have with us over the phone Mr. Abdel, writer, journalist, and political analyst. Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you. Pleasure is always mine.
My pleasure. Well, Mr. Abdel, how did you see the latest efforts exerted by Egypt in sending on and continuing in sending the medical and humanitarian aid to Gaza Strip?
I believe those historical efforts will be in the history for Egypt with lines of light. I believe also there is a historical opportunity to be taken right now to stop the war or stop the battle, to be exact, in Gaza Strip between the resistant troops and the Zionist resistance. There is a meeting should be held in matter of hours between the responsibles of Egypt and other counters from Qatar and from Hamas, and of course with the Israelis. I believe there is an opportunity right now to stop the war, and I believe there is a chance to stop the battle for a while. There is a very critical need for the people in Gaza Strip to be revived again. I believe that the Israeli Holocaust against the Arabs in Gaza Strip will be punished historically and will be punished at the right time. But for now, we need to stop the battle. We need to catch breath. We need to give the Palestinians that are surrounded right now in Gaza Strip and other places in Palestine the probable aids we have already, and we are already continuing to pour supplies with too many ways to the Palestinians, and the whole world is witnessing that right now. And I believe that the Palestinians voice, the Palestinian soul, the Palestinian nation, they appreciate those efforts accomplished by Egypt. I'm sure that together as Arabs, we can put an end to this to these massacres that are being committed in the occupied lands. And it's time right now for peace. It's time right now for stop the bloodshed, and it's time to take actions towards that target. I believe the ceasefire is soon, God's willing.
Yes. So since Thursday, last Thursday, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu gave orders for the Israeli occupation army to be ready for a ground invasion in Rafah, the Palestinian Rafah city. And despite the warnings, Egypt have warned of the repercussions of this, and also the UN, also the European Union, even the United States have warned of this incursion or invasion. Yet on Saturday, a pre-dawn strikes by the Israeli occupation army have killed 100 Palestinians. Today, this morning, 74 Palestinians were killed in Rafah. So how do you follow this picture?
I'm sure that the leadership in Egypt has made it clear to Netanyahu and his partners in crime that such an invasion will be a threat to our national security on the Eastern Front. And I'm sure that the Israelis realize now that if they couldn't face some troops of resistors, no more than 2,000 or 3,000 at the most, with the whole arsenal of armies and ammunition and the modern tools of killing that the Israelis are using against those resistors, I believe it's time to realize that what they have seen already is nothing but a shred of what they may face if they just try to threaten our national security. The Egyptian army, the Egyptian state, is the strongest state and the strongest army in the whole region, in the whole East. And they realize that they can never think about threatening our national security. And also, I believe it's time for the resistant troops, the resistant leaders, to communicate in the most positive ways with the Egyptian efforts accomplished concerning that goal, which is ceasing fire, which is stopping the war or stopping the battle. I'm sure that Tel Aviv realized that any threat by that invasion that they are talking about and claiming they are ready for, and claiming they have planned it with their partner in crime, the U.S. Biden administration, they must realize that they're going to be faced by the huge power and the huge force of the military forces, the Egyptian military forces. They can never just face that forces, thanks to God. And I believe it's time for the Tel Aviv leaders to realize this is the time to stop, or else there will be consequences for their actions.
Yes, Mr. Abdurrahman, how can we make use of the international pressure to make Israel stop this aggression and to make a truce and cease fire, especially with the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu threatening this week to invade the Rafah, Palestinian Rafah city that is taken as a shelter for more than 1.4 million Palestinians and families. So how can we get the parties together and take benefit from the other international countries and the EU and the UN who are warning of this invasion in the Rafah city?
With all due respect to the UN and other international organizations and peace efforts they have tried and accomplished in the past time, and with all due respect and sympathy to the souls of the martyrs in Palestine, in Gaza Strip, in Rafah, those who have died in the Israeli aggression against the Arabic lands and the Arabic nation, I don't believe that we can count a lot on the efforts or the mission or the role of the UN and other organizations. It's time right now for a decision to be made only between the powers on the ground. It's a matter of a battle on the ground. The battle on the ground will be seized or stopped or continued with the decisions made by the powers and the forces on the ground. I believe that Egypt have accomplished and will accomplish more efforts to stop the war and to stop the battle with its own influence and with its own relations in other countries, like even Qatar is doing their job to stop the war too. I believe other countries in the whole the Arabic East is looking forward to Egypt right now to stop the war and to talk to the Hamas leaders and the resistance to take a positive action against the situation right now. As for the Zionist existence, they must realize. I'm sure they are realizing right now, after maybe more than 500,000 of the Israelis have immigrated back again to their homes in Europe and other places they came from a century before. They realize it's time for them to end. Their time has up. Their time is up in this Zionist existence. I believe it's time for the peace to prevail at last.
Yes. Can we expect in the near coming days, because there are several negotiations taking place in Cairo with the Israeli and Palestinian side, and also with the mediation of Egypt, Qatar, and the U.S. To reach to a truce or a ceasefire?
I'm sure that Egypt is doing the most important role here. I don't believe that any other power in the world can do the same role that Egypt is playing or doing successfully right now. The U.S. is not that mediator role. It's side by side. It's taking the side of the enemy, the side of the aggression. So it's speaking for the Israelis. The Americans are not speaking for themselves or even their best interests. Their best interests that have been damaged in the region by such aggression. Such an aggression committed by the Israelis have harmed the American image, and even made it clear or revived or remind us as Arabs that the same force that is aiding the Zionist existence right now in its aggression against the Arabs in Palestine, are the same force that have eliminated a state called Iraq, a great state, a great nation, which is Iraq, that have been invaded by the Americans about 30 years ago. I believe this Zionist aggression is an extension for the same American aggression against Iraq. I believe that only Egypt, as a leader of this nation, the Arabic nation, is standing alone, facing that aggression and using all their forces, their power, their wisdom. I'm talking about the leaders of our country in Egypt. They're using all their wisdom, their expertise, their experiences in facing such a conflict with the most self-discipline and self-control degrees, and successfully, hopefully, Egypt can stop this bloodshed in Gaza Strip, and of course, with the help, moral help by other powers like the UN and Qatar and or any other country.
Yes, Mr. Abdel President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and the director of the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency, the CIA, William Burns, have reviewed the ongoing situation in Gaza Strip and the underway efforts to achieve a ceasefire and protect the civilians and activate a two-state solution. So to maintain, of course, the security and stability in the region. How do you see the importance of this meeting, especially discussing a two-state solution?
We should realize right now that Egypt's situation has never been changed. It's always a solid and sound situation. We have never changed our point of view. We have never changed our situation during all those negotiations accomplished with the Americans or with the Israelis. The two-state solution is is a paramount solution, and there will be no ceasefire for a long time without the commission or for the Israelis to commit and admit that solution. And second, we can never allow any agendas to displace Palestinians to our lands in Sinai or any other piece of our lands. And this, of course, we have forced the Americans to realize, to agree to that demand, that Egyptian demand. After so much high pressures, they have tried against Egypt to accept that evil solution. We have we have forced the Americans to retreat from that idea. We have now reached a common understanding that the Americans realize we should stop the war and we should help the Palestinians in the territory that are being surrounded right now in Gaza Strip and in Rafah. And there is a red line. We have drawn. Mr. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi honorably has made that red line clear to each and every force on this region. Egypt will never allow either displacing the Palestinians from their homeland or allowing any invasion or the least threat to our national security on the Eastern Front or any strategic front.
Yes, I thank you very much for your time. Thank you for your valuable information, Mr. Abdel Rahman, writer, journalist, and political analyst. Thank you very much for joining us over the phone.